Good morning, traders, and welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Tuesday, December 30th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps. We're a little lower, down 0.02%. Very minor move. We were lower earlier this morning, turned green. Now we're back in the red, but it's so minor. It just shows you the time of year. Very quiet session. Very quiet session. But today, we got a couple of key economic events. Like this morning, we get the home price index. Home prices have been ticking a little lower. That's coming out this morning. And then this afternoon, we get the Fed meeting minutes. It's going to show a divisive Fed, but that's going to be a market moving report. What else do we have going on? We got the markets continuing to display caution over various geopolitical events going on. I mean, the Ukraine peace talks appear to have stalled. Russia has said that they're unwilling to continue to negotiate because there was an attempted drone strike on a Putin residence. That's unconfirmed. And then there's talk that the U.S. has struck an oil facility in Venezuela, and of course China. China launched a major military exercises in the water and airspace around Taiwan. That has, caused some hair to stand up on people's arms. So we're a little bit cautious. In corporate news, Meta Platforms, they're paying over $2 billion for that AI startup Manus. Nothing really on the earnings front, this morning. So nothing really to watch there. But if we're looking at the global markets, we got to talk about Germany. Germany's up 0.54% or 132 points. It was flat to higher this morning, but a sense really started taking off. Banks are higher, tech's showing gains, defense stocks, they're outperforming. I mean, the Russia-Ukraine, as long as there's no agreement, defense stocks should continue to do well. Then you have London, the FTSE, which is up 45 points or 0.46%. You're seeing strength, in the metal sector. Oil, is still ticking higher. So, those are two good sectors over there. And the CAC in Paris is up 42 points. That's 0.52%. Banking, basic resources, they're contributing the most to the advance, which really kind of aligns with the broader European markets. Then we're turning our attention over to Asia last night, and we're looking at the Nikkei, which, the Nikkei fell 187 points. It's 0.37%. It's the final trading day of the year for the Nikkei. The weakness was concentrated in cyclical areas such as financials and the metal sector. But you look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong rose. It was up 219 points. It's 0.86%. And tech stocks did outperform. China, the Shanghai, was flat. The 0.00. Tech names did see some gains, but defense shares did underperform. So that mixture just wound up offsetting. And at the end of the day, the market was 0.00. So, China was flat. Then we're turn our attention over to oil. And guess what? Oil is trading higher this morning. You got WTI at $58.34 a barrel. You got Brent at $62.15 a barrel. WTI is up 0.45%, while Brent's up 0.34%. It's the latest geopolitical tensions. The Ukraine peace efforts, they're fragile. They really are. The U.S. launching, President Trump admitted that we launched a strike in Venezuela, and Venezuela's taken, they have an issue because their supplies their stockpiles just continue to increase because they can't get any of it out. So they've slowed down the amount of oil they're pumping, but still they got an issue there. If they can't export any of its oil, it's going to continue to be an issue. But, oil's not in this major bull run because of the overproduction by OPEC in the U.S. We've got such a production glut happening that we can withstand this. And Venezuela is not a major producer, so you got to really you can't really be too bullish on oil at this point. But that's what we have for you for a morning market update. Now we're turning on to the economic reports that are hitting the tape today. And I got to tell you, we got to start off with, the Case-Shiller Home Price Index that's coming out at 9 a.m. this morning. That's going to be a key one. Then at 9:45, you get the Chicago PMI. And then at 2 p.m., it's the big one. You get the Fed meeting minutes. You remember, at their last meeting, the Fed did cut rates by 25 basis points, and they signaled that that may be the last rate cut for some time. I mean, the market's thinking, we could get another cut in April, maybe June. But the tone of the minutes is really expected to differ from the previous two meeting minutes, where it's going to be a little bit more hawkish. So we'll wait for those meeting minutes to be released at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Okay, now we're taking a look at the markets. I'm showing 10 Dow stocks lower. Then I got the 3 unchanged, and the rest are higher. So we are kind of pointing to some green, action in the Dow, and then we take a look at the FANG stocks. Tesla's trading a little higher. Meta's flat. The rest are lower, but we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out during the day. Looking for some news behind the tape, like Apple, China's to include digital and smartphones products in their 2026 subsidy scheme. That would be positive for Apple. Meta, of course, they announced that deal to buy Mammoth in an effort to integrate its AI across its platforms. Tesla's out there saying deliveries are expected to decline 15% in the fourth quarter. But it's not priced as a car company, that's for sure. So we're looking at Dow Jones 30 stocks, and we're talking about Caterpillar. There's a story out there talking about AI projects and how it's really benefiting Caterpillar. As a range of customers are looking to purchase the company's engines and generators. Makes a lot of sense. Big Cat, CAT, Charlie Apple Tom, Boeing, ticker BA. They announced that they have a slew of new government contracts worth over $12 billion. They got a big order from Israel and another maintenance contract from the U.S. over $12 billion worth. Merger news, Meta didn't disclose the terms for that Magnus pickup, but it's likely costing them between $2 and $3 billion is what the estimates are. In terms of shareholders meeting, Viva, VEEA, they're holding a shareholders meeting today at 10 a.m. All right, let's get into our stock of the day. And I'm going to go with Robinhood, ticker HOOD. The issue here is there's, crypto's seeing some positive action, and Robinhood's been trading a little weak. That story, could benefit Robinhood this morning. You look at yesterday's call volume, 114,000 calls versus 51,000 puts. Very positive. And then you look at the open interest, 1.2 million versus 743K. That's positive. Major brokers, they still do like the stock. They do still feel, I'm seeing price targets in the 150 range for the stock. So yeah, it's got room to run. But for me, I want to get, for me to get into the stock, the stock's trading 117.71 this morning, and I want to get in the low 117 area if possible. So I'll say 117.25 is my entry point. But I do think it has the ability to show some gains today. So that's my pick of the day. Robinhood 117.25 is an entry point. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about the stocks that are hitting the tape this morning. See if there's anything hot that happened in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. PEG, Paul Edward Grace, PSE, Long Island contract extension approved by New York State Controller. Okay. Dollar's fallen as, market's a little cautious ahead of the Fed meeting minutes. EIA, U.S. crude oil stockpiles rose by 405,000 barrels. Typically negative for oil prices. Remember, those EIA, they were supposed to come out yesterday at 10:30 a.m. and they came out later in the afternoon. President Trump on the military drills near Taiwan says it doesn't bother him. He also says he's open to engage in discussions with Tehran. Let's see. Starbucks, SBUX. They're scaling back their urban area retail outlets as part of its restructuring efforts. Lululemon, LULU founders, proxy fight to change the board seems to be having a positive impact on the stock. Nike, Home Depot, United Healthcare. These stocks underperformed in 2025, likely to be the dogs of the Dow for 2026. Okay, that's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about our stock of the day from yesterday, which was Decker Outdoors, ticker DECK. I mean, listen, the stock opened up at 102.89. 102.89. Then it had a high at 104.55, which beats the 1%, and closed out at 103.71. And this morning it's trading at 104. Now I was thinking 102.60 as an entry point, so it didn't hit my entry point, but it definitely did beat off the opening price. So we'll take it. But Decker Outdoors, ticker DECK, turned in some green yesterday. All right, traders, that concludes today's podcast for December 30th. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.